welcome back to the S.U.R.E Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bell, author of S.U.R.E Parenting, Building Blocks to Create Their Best Childhood, and the creator of S.U.R.E Parenting. Today I wanted to discuss a topic that came up in our group on Facebook, Empowering Moms to Uplift Kids, and that was the topic of a 3-year-old deciding that they don't like dad. This is pretty common. A lot of 3-year-olds go through a phase where they decide to prefer one parent or the other. I would say it's more common for them to prefer mom, but it absolutely can go the other way too. And this often happens because 3-year-olds develop a belief that they can only love one person, that love is finite. And so they decide, I love mom. And in their black and white thinking, that means they can't love dad. So they hate dad, they don't like dad, no daddy, go away daddy, I don't want to be around you, all of these things. And what they're doing is they're attempting to protect their relationship with their mom. And they don't yet have the knowledge or the nuance to understand that they're hurting dad's feelings. That's something to remember. They don't develop empathy for quite a while. And they really aren't able to feel, to even think about what another person is thinking about. So what I mean by that is the ability to comprehend that I have some thoughts in my head, but other people have different thoughts in their head. That doesn't really come online until they're 5. So when a 3-year-old thinks, I'm hungry, they just assume you already know that because they thought it, and therefore everybody must be thinking it. There isn't a full separation yet. So because of that, they can't comprehend how it might hurt somebody's feelings for them to reject them. It's just not something they're able to understand. Even if you were to tell a 3-year-old, well, that hurts my feelings, they don't understand that concept. You definitely wouldn't want to fake cry or try to use your emotions to force them to act differently. That's really just manipulation, and it doesn't do what you think it's going to do. It doesn't make them feel bad and then choose to change to protect your feelings, because they can't. They can't feel bad because they can't comprehend what you're even talking about. So instead of that, one, don't take it personally. Understand that this is part of their development, that they're attempting to protect their relationship with their favored parent. All they're really saying in that moment is, I love mom, which duh, of course they do. Like, we know that. That doesn't offend you. So translate it in your mind. All they're saying is, I love mom. Their words are, I don't like daddy. But they're not really saying that. Really, all they're saying is, I love mom. And that you can support and you can totally get behind. You might say something like, hey buddy, I love mommy too. She's the greatest, isn't she? I love when mommy, cooks us dinner, or when mommy plays a game or whatever, and bond on that level, how much you both love mommy. Now, some kids are going to then get territorial. No, I love mommy. If you have a playful kiddo who can take that into game mode, and you can, no, I love her, no, I love her, and turn it into a game where you're laughing and playing, by all means do that. Play is one of the best things that we can do with our kids to bridge any gap. If your kiddo, if this is really important and really serious to them, and that's just going to upset them, don't go there. It's not necessary. It's just going to add to the tension the two of you are already feeling. So, connect where you can. And then what's interesting about these situations is a lot of times if the preferred parent leaves, say they go to work or they go on an outing of some sort, when they're out of the house, the kiddo's totally fine. They have no problem playing with dad and doing stuff with dad, and it's like this whole scenario never existed. And that's because kids live in the moment. In the moment when they are telling you, no, I don't like you, I like mommy, they feel a threat. For whatever developmental reason, They feel, I need to protect my relationship with mommy right now. And so they act. But you aren't actually a threat to them. They're not afraid of you. They don't actually dislike you. So when the need to protect the relationship with mom isn't there, they're totally cool with you. They'll play with you and hang out with you and do fun things with you, and there's no issues whatsoever. So I do encourage those interactions to maintain some of those along the way. That can just happen naturally if mom does work. But it can be planned out, Oh, mom has a meeting, which might mean she goes and has dinner with a friend, whatever that means for your family. And be prepared for an initial, I would say meltdown, but doesn't necessarily always look like a meltdown. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's crying, sometimes it's just resistance in general. That's okay. Separation is also something that gets heightened at this age, so they might feel sad that mom has to leave. Empathize with them, hold them while they cry. If they don't want to be held, just be near so that they can get those feelings out. Crying is not inherently a bad thing. They can express how they're feeling, you can understand how they're feeling, and they can work through that feeling in the safety of your calmness and presence. And as they return to normal, then you guys can do something fun together. So set up those times where you can have alone time and bond and play together and have fun together. And allow them to express their preference in a more appropriate way. So maybe, they're screaming at you, no, don't touch me, I don't want you to brush my teeth, only mommy can brush my teeth, you're a bad guy, blah, 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 and they're like, really amped up. You can translate that for them and say, oh, I hear you. You really want mommy right now. You can say, hey, daddy, can mom brush my teeth tonight? And give them the words to get what they want in a calm, polite kind of way. So then as they are able to practice that, it's not as triggering for you. It's not as rude. Even though they don't mean to be rude, it sure feels rude. And they're able to practice that skill, and they're able to see that they don't have to amp it up so high to still get what they need, which is that connection from mom. So they say it the kinder way, mom comes and brushes teeth. Now, is that always an option? I'm sure it's not. Most of you have more than one kid, and sometimes parents are pulled in two different directions. Sometimes mom can't be there. Sometimes mom's nursing the baby, and dad just has to do bedtime. Again, in those instances, you're probably going to have some sort of reaction, and don't be afraid of those reactions. You are their strong, solid leader. They can be angry and sad and hurt and offended and frustrated and all of those feelings, and you can handle it. And you show them that you've got their back. Yep, you're really, really angry. I hear you. You really wish mom could do this right now. I know. It's really tough, and you just let them get it out. And as they calm down, you brush teeth, you move on. You can do it in some sort of special way. In our family, my husband sings Power Ranger theme songs while he brushes the kids' teeth, because that is something that he knows that I don't. It's not something I can do, and I will point that out. My 4-year-old does this, and he has done this from when he was 3. When this started, every once in a while he'll just be like, no, I want mommy. And then he'll tell me, sing the Power Ranger song. And I tell him, buddy, I don't know the Power Ranger song. If you want the Power Ranger song, you're going to have daddy do your teeth. And so then he may well ask for dad, which is, something that he does now too, which is awesome. So knowing that it does usually end, knowing that they are sometimes just trying to figure out their place and what they can control and what they can't control, and how to handle power and how to handle their relationship. Sometimes it's more of an experiment. You'll see that sometimes where a kid will be like, no, I want mommy to do it. No, I want daddy to do it. No, I want mommy to do it. No, I want daddy to do it. And they're kind of wavering back and forth. And at that point, usually they don't know what they want. And somebody has to make a decision, and that somebody's going to be you. So, you give them that option. Hey, you can pick. If you can't pick, then I'm going to pick, and that's what we're going to stick with. A lot of times this happens at night when they're just tired and overwhelmed and they've had a long day and they really need to just get to bed. And it's okay if they have big feelings around that. Sometimes they need to burn off that excess angst and energy before they go to bed. And if they need to let their anger out, let them. That's okay. It's okay for them to have those feelings. Those feelings are healthy and normal and appropriate. And we don't have to have the feelings with them. We can just hold space for them to have those feelings. I like to remind my kiddo, and this is important. I like to remind them because I don't think that they know, not all of them. You can love more than one person. You can love more than one person at the same time. I love you. I love brother. I love sister. And I love daddy. I love all of you guys. You can love more than one person at the same time. So you can love mom and you can love dad too. You can still want mommy to tie your shoes. That's okay. That's fine. You can still love daddy and want mommy to tie your shoes. So I don't tell them they don't feel how they feel, but I just point out that they can have room for both of those feelings. And I feel that teaching them that and letting them know that they can have both is a huge step in the right direction. And then pointing out any nice thing that I can about the parent who is being, essentially rejected. Whenever dad makes breakfast, oh, you have such a great dad. It's so cool that he makes you pancakes and bacon in the morning. Look at you. You get to play Power Rangers with daddy. Aren't you happy that daddy knows so much about Power Rangers? He can play these games with you? Whatever it is. It doesn't have to be big stuff, but I want to make sure that they're experiencing the positive emotions around this parent too. It's normal, but it's still hard, and it can hurt our feelings. A lot of dads, they'll tell me, what did I do wrong? And nothing is most often the answer. Now, yes, if there has been a time where there's been any kind of violence or anything like that, that can absolutely trigger this whole cascade of events where a kid wants to reject that parent. And also, it can be the opposite. I've seen parents who were in no way gentle, very punitive, very into corporal punishment, and then their kids, in an effort to attempt to regain favor, they tried to kind of go the opposite direction. Instead of rejecting their parents, they felt rejected, so then they wanted to cling to their parent. And it's sad because it's done out of a panic, a feeling of my dad doesn't love me. And that's, of course, never what we want. We want our kids to be securely attached to us. What is cool about this situation that I'm talking about is that these kids feel securely attached. They feel so secure with your relationship with them that they can tell you to go away, and they know that you're not going that far. They know that you'll come back. They know that you love them even when they are at their worst, when they have the biggest emotions and they're the hardest to handle. They know you still love them anyway. That is secure attachment, and that's our goal. So even though this kind of sucks, I hear ya. Do your best to not take it personally, to understand that it will pass, that you can support them through it, and that it's probably a good sign that they believe in you and they believe in your commitment to them and your attachment to them enough that they are willing to have this experiment. It's an interesting one. It's a lot of sort of backwards thinking that you have to do to manage this weird blip in their childhood. But what's nice is it passes. Once they realize they can love more than one person at a time, they can love mom and dad, they can love different things about mom and dad, they can love the same things about mom and dad. Once they figure that out, this whole thing usually goes away. And it is a lot more peaceful, the interactions between you and your spouse and your kids. So have faith. You will get through it. If you're really struggling, if there's any particular piece that is just not evening out for you, please don't hesitate to set up a free call. I am happy to talk with you about the specifics in your family and give you the strategies that will help you work through whatever your difficulties are. You can set that call up at bit.ly/callSami, SAMI, and that's available anytime. So please use that resource. You are not alone in this. I am here to help. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next episode. Have a great night. Bye.